Hey everyone, Jen here, and as promised, today we are going to learn how to make Cindy's pumpkins. That's what I call them. You've seen these online. We made these at our sewing retreat. Um, she sent me a bunch of pumpkins years ago, and they are one of my favorite things to decorate with. So I asked her to put together little kits and a quick tutorial for us so that we could make these all together. So they're very easy. I will list in the comments the exact measurements, so don't worry about having to write any of this down. So you're going to start with fabric, and she uses a long fat eighth, and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise. So if you want a squattier pumpkin like this guy, I took off 2 inches. So a fat eighth is 9 inches tall by width of fabric. With the fabric meaning a fat quarter, so which is what, 18 inches. And so for a small one, I cut it down to 7. So this is 7 inches tall and this is 9 inches tall. So you can see the difference in size. You are going to take it to your sewing machine. You're going to fold them in half lengthwise, and you're going to sew up the short side. So back stitch on the top and the bottom on the short side. Then you're going to gather one of the long sides. And if you're using directional prints, which I am, this matters. So be sure to do the gather on the bottom of the print. So I set my sewing machine to a 5mm stitch length. I backstitch at the top, then I run my stitch length, and do not cut your tails. Just disengage your machine and pull out a nice long tail of bobbin and top thread so you can gather. You could also easily just do this by hand, which is what I used to do. Just make sure you knot off one end and then loosely gather to the bottom of the edge of the fabric. Okay, so once you have everything sewn up, that's the only sewing that you'll have to do. You'll want to take your threads and you're going to separate the bobbin from the top thread, and you're going to gently pull the bobbin thread and push your fabric to the end to create your gather. And there's no real science on how tight it needs to be. I do it all the way. So you can see here, that's about what I do. Then go ahead and tie off a knot, which is a little tricky. Plus I don't have my cheaters on, so I could see better. Right, so let's tie off a knot here. And I do it 3 times. Again, as long as you locked off the other edge, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, trim off. So here is your bottom. So you're going to go ahead and turn your pumpkin right side out. These seam allowances don't matter. So I used roughly probably a 5/8 or a 1/2 inch. I really didn't pay too close of attention because, again, it doesn't really matter your seam allowance. So there is our beginning pumpkin. Excuse me, I have allergies. You're going to take your Poly-Fil stuffing. I'm just using the regular fiber fill. And you're going to stuff your pumpkin. Now, you need to not overfill your pumpkin because you're going to pull up the fabric up to the top here. So I like to kind of check it, how tight it feels. So you need to have like a decent amount up top. You can see here's one of my pumpkins. This is excess fabric up here. So, but if you want it to be more firm, you can always add a little bit more. I like them to be more squishy. Okay, so I think that is about good right there. Okay, you can see it coming into shape. Okay, so we have 2 stuffed pumpkins. So Cindy used just cording to tie these off, but Tina in class had hair ties, and you'll want to use the smaller, really thick hair ties for this, and this does make it a lot easier. So I suggest using hair ties instead of trying to tie a knot. If you don't have hair ties or rubber bands, you're going to want to tie a knot around your fabric. So gather the top of your pumpkin. Use the rubber band here to tie it off. Okay, and again, you can do this. You want to make sure it's all in there, but you could even make this shorter. It's, again, personal preference on how you want it to look. I think I'll pull this out just a little bit. Just want to make sure it all gets caught in there. This fabric line is called Kitty Loves Candy by Poppie Cotton. And Julie at Crafty Midwestern Mommy has part of the line. She doesn't have the whole thing. She has about 5 prints, I think, of this line. It's very cute. It's very fall. It has some Halloween-ish to it, but it's very fall, very cutesy fall colors and prints. So, okay. All right. So here are our 2 base pumpkins. You can see the bottom there. That's what it looks like. Cute. All right, next you're going to take some cording or twine. You could also even use, uh, shredded fabric, to tie it off. We're basically going to make the actual pumpkin here. So you're going to take your pumpkin and tie off the top and leave some excess so you can tie off the finished end here. So we're going to tie it off like that. And Cindy likes to wrap hers up and down the stem. It doesn't really bother me. Let me see if I can try to see which one of these that she did for me. You can see she goes up and down a little bit here, which you can do, just wrap up and then wrap back down. I don't really care. So I just leave it. So what you're going to do is you're going to do this way, and this way. So you're going to take your cording, go under the pumpkin, and go up to the top. And you want to pull it so you create the indents. You want to wrap it around the stem and do the other side. Again, pull it a little bit snug so you get the indent on your pumpkin. Wrap it around the stem. Go down the side. And don't worry if these are not even. We're going to straighten them back out. Okay. Wrap it around the stem again. Okay. Trim that. And then you're going to tie it off with the excess that you left. Okay. So we'll do it on this pumpkin again. I'm just using like a burlap cording that I have. So tie it off here. Okay. And then I wrap one time, go down the side. Pull this out a little. Wrap, pull, snug. There we go. Wrap it around. Go down the opposite side. Again, make sure you pull it snug. Wrap it around. Go at the diagonal here. Wrap it around. You're going to tie off. I can get this out. There we go. Okay, and I will tell you, I don't like the way the top looks, and I kept getting really frustrated Cindy telling her to fix mine, but she assures me it doesn't matter, and it really doesn't once you get all the decorations on them. So, okay. So you have your twine wrapped. You're going to turn it over and you can see that they're not even, and that's fine because now we're going to make them more even. So you're just going to push them around, tucking in, you know, what looks better so you can see that's more centered. Then turn it over and you can kind of look and see, okay, this one needs to move over just slightly. There's like a weird wrinkle in the fabric. This one could go over, this one could go over a little bit. Okay, so don't worry about too much what it looks like up top there. Okay, once you like where your placement is, you're gonna tie the bottom. So take some more cording and loop it through all of the layers here. And this is just to help keep them in place. And if you want, you could use a thinner cording if that bothers you. Again, doesn't really matter to me. So tie it off in a knot. Okay, that'll keep it secure. So we're going to fix this one up. If you're a perfectionist like some of our people in class, this will be a struggle for you to not worry about how this all turns out. So this is meant to be imperfect. Okay, let's pull those and see. There we go. See, I don't like that one. That's fine. Okay, I think that looks good. All right, we'll turn it over. And we'll tie this one off as well. So while I'm tying these off, for your decorations, you can use really anything you have. You could make stuff, you could use felties, scrap fabric, scrap edges of ribbon. This is meant to kind of, you know, have some scrap busting decorations here. And we're going to go over that as well on what I put on them. But so I have bins of little leftover wreath projects, and that's what I use to decorate mine. Cindy as well. So, okay. So here are our ready to go pumpkins. All right. So next we're going to decorate. Okay. So first we're going to start with raffia. So it comes in bunches. I really like this. This makes it like hides imperfections and it's a great bow. It's very dramatic. So I like to take 3 pieces of the raffia, create a loop or a knot actually. So start your knot like so, then put it over your pumpkin top. And I pull out these here and tie it at the base. Then I like to wrap it again, tie another knot, and then tie a bow. Okay, just like so. And then you're gonna have to give your, I always give it a haircut. So trim some of your raffia down to whatever length that you like. I prefer to use 3 pieces of the raffia. That's just what I found to be the best thickness. Okay, so let's do the other one. So create a knot, put it over the top here. Okay, turn it, create another knot, right off. Create our bow. There we go. Okay, so quick haircut. Can always do this after as well. Okay, so we have our raffia. This one little side of the pumpkins drive me crazy. There we go. See what I mean? It's like, oh, not a big deal. All right, there we go. So we have those. So next, Cindy gave us, she had scrap fabrics This is a 3-inch square. She had some burlap, which I don't have any left over. So you can see here, she had like another little burlap ribbon. We had some leaves, which I do have, some of these sprigs. So you can see we just added literally whatever we had. So this one, I put a pumpkin ribbon fabric. I do have these mums, we'll add those. And this is all hot glued on. So what I like to start with is I usually do the fabric first and get this square. So this is what we have left over from my class. And then I have some mums that I'm going to use as well. So again, little scraps. So I like to take the fabric square and fold it in half. And then I take the hot glue and I kind of pleat it up like this. So it's just a pleat and a pleat. So kind of gives like a nice shape. And then this is the only ribbon I had available. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue. I'm going to make it like a fold, a fold, and a fold, just like this. Again, it's just meant to give it some dimension. So let me show you one I did. This is a bigger one. So here you'll see there's my folded ribbon, fabric, the leaf, and then I start adding the other stuff in. So I'm going to go ahead and build these two things together for both, and then I'll be back. Okay, so here are the fabric pieces. So you can see I folded the fabric up into like a little triangle, then added the ribbon. Then we have some leaves, which I like to add those last, some mums, and then just some miscellaneous little sprigs here. So I prefer to put this part on first and then add everything in after. So we're going to go ahead and take this one and put some glue, and I put it on the back side of the bow here. So you want to hold it a little bit. And on some of them, I layered like some of the leaves. So you can see here, there's 2 leaves, a smaller and a larger leaf. Okay, so that looks nice. And then I like to add little sprigs in. Sometimes you need to clip off these little ends. And I just kind of stuff them in where they look like they belong. So put a little bit of hot glue on the end, stuff that down in there into the raffia and fabric. Really can't see the edges once you get it into that little area there. So that, and then I think I'm going to want my leaf on the back side here. Let's go ahead and add that to the back. Okay, we have a little red one I think I'll add as well. So just stick that in like so. And then these mums, they are from Hobby Lobby. They actually have adhesive. So if you don't want that, you can take it off in hot glue. I'm just leaving the adhesive on, and I'm going to tuck that mum right in the front by the bow here. It's pretty strong adhesive, so I'm not really too concerned. Okay, so there's one pumpkin all done. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this. Go ahead and take our fabric here. And there's my bow. So let's do it on this side. That. Go ahead and add my leaf. Have it kind of turned out like a diagonal here. Just that. Stick our sprig will say these Ryobi glue guns, which you guys have seen me use a lot, they get very, very hot. So if you're going to do this with kids, I highly recommend you get the low heat or no heat, whatever they call them, glue guns. Or even just the cheaper glue guns seem to not be as hot as this glue gun gets. So you will definitely burn yourself with this thing if you're not careful. So sprigs. And then our mom zhuzh this up. Stick that right in the front here. Okay, so there's that. See, there's our two that we just made today. You could even spray these with fabric glitter or something. So these are some that I made at the retreat. We made in fall fabrics. You can see all the extra little things here. And then this week I made the Kitty Loves Candy ones here and here. Okay, hope you enjoyed.